Okay, so I know I promised on Thursday's video that I would have the Vise chop. I would do the Vise chop and finish it up by Friday night. Well, as fate would have it, I was on my way home, and lo and behold, traffic comes to a stop. Traffic came to a stop because there's only one road in and out of my town, and they thought it would be an amazing idea to do construction on that road right in the middle of the day when everybody's trying to go to and from work. I don't get it. Regardless, traffic was backed up for a good 7-8 miles, and it was not going anywhere. So it was either sit through that traffic or go to the auction house, which is right there on the road. Well, you know me, I'm all about a good deal, so I pulled off the road, which was just so I only had to wait in traffic for a few minutes, and then I went to the auction house and sat through the auction. Got a bunch of cool stuff, good deals. I got hundreds and hundreds of dollars of old tools for a whopping $30. There was no online bidders that day, so I got a smoking deal on some good tools. This is how bad the traffic was. When I got out of the auction, it was like about 9 o'clock at night, and the traffic was still there. Not as bad, but it was still there. That's crazy. So I finally get home, and it was just too late to start. So I was like, I'm just going to go to bed and get up and knock it out. So I get up and I start doing my routine, and I come in my shop, and it smelled like death. I was like, something was dead. It stunk to high heaven in here. And I have my fan in the window blowing out, so I didn't know. I was like, that means it's got to be inside the house. It's not, I don't have the fan blowing in from outside. So anyway, so long story short, I spent the whole day tearing that apart, my dryer. So I have a bait block, rat poison, mouse poison, whatever. And there was a mouse that decided to make my dryer its home. The bottom of the dryer, like you go to the back and you come in through the back, and it was literally on the floor of the dryer itself. And well, it ate some of that poison and went and crawled home and thought it was in a drunken stupor and died. And so all my clothes for like 2 days I had to rewash because they smelled like dead mouse. So anyway, I spent the whole day disassembling the dryer. I've never disassembled that one before, so it was all figuring everything out. And by the time I got the dryer disassembled, got all of the lint, I just went ahead and cleaned all the lint out of every orifice of that dryer, put it back together, gave the mouse back to nature, and started washing laundry. It was already a lost cause for last night. And then, of course, I had to finish doing all the laundry and everything this morning. And I got some of my apples. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 apple trees out back, or I guess out front. And the apples are starting to turn ripe, so ready for the picking. So I got a bucket, or a bowl full of apples. And probably 40 or 50 more apples on the way, so that's cool. But now I finally got everything cleaned. It does not. It smells nice and fresh in here now, and it is time to get busy on this chop. So let's get to it. All right. So when I had left last video, I cut this out, and so I cut this out and it fit up to the vise over the guide rods and the lead screw. And in hindsight, if I was going to do this again, I would have drilled holes not only in the corners, but all the way across. That would have made it much easier to split out, or much cleaner anyway. But the holes on the edges would have matched up. I would have grabbed the same drill size that my guide rods are, and it would have given me a nice radius for that to sit on. Not that it really matters, it'll still be perfectly functional, just things to note if you're mounting one, or when I go to mount my other vise, I'll do that. So, where we sit now, the light was trying to mess with me earlier, but maybe it's... trying to get where it's not blinding. Let's do it that way. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the lines, but I do have some guidelines right here marked out. And I got my good faithful piece of maple, quilted maple, that I was going to make the chops out of, sitting here as a help. I gotta have something to block it up against, so that is what we're gonna use. So what I need to do first is get a knife mark around here, and see, the light's good for you guys, but it's harder for me, I think. And I could make this a little bit large, but I'm just going to get it, I want a nice snug fit. So, I need to know where to stop. I'm just going to double check. I'm double checking the depth of my, from the top of the vise down to my first guide rod. See which mark I need. And I need more light. Sorry, guys. And I'm just mocking it up to make sure that everything is the way I want it. I want to make sure that that it is indeed still lower everywhere, or that the bench is still lower than that everywhere when it's resting. That way I know I don't have to bring it up or anything of that nature. So I can go straight from so I need to go straight from my guide, the top of my vise, to the guide rod. And that measures out at 4 1/8. So four and 1/8 is what I'm going to need to come down, or excuse me, go up from, basically from here. So my mark is actually a little bit off. So Let me erase. Just easier to erase. At this point, so I'm just going to go from the bottom here. I don't know how parallel that is, that bottom piece, so I am going to mark it on one side. And I'm using the sides. The sides are much more parallel than the front. Alright, so I'll take that and we'll just join it. Oh no, no, it's not long enough. Trying to get away with not pulling my rule out, but oh well. And I'm just lining up these marks. And it does not look parallel. But I'm going to go just a hair above. So like I said, this hole can be bigger. You'd rather it be a little bit bigger than a little bit small. And let's see how that lines up with the top, because the top is what's guiding this really. And that looks spectacular. So I will go ahead and use that one. Let me put my other pencils away. And we'll go ahead and mark now. So now I'm going down to my line. I have a line marked here, which is basically straight across. And it doesn't need to go straight across. You can go slightly above, which I want to do. I want to stop right there. Now, you just see my mark. Alright, now we'll go ahead and do this one on the other side. Didn't think I had enough room there, but I do. I'm going to be mindful to remember. See, I did it really light and it moved on me because I don't have everything clamped and it's kind of ticking me off, frankly. It's just not working for me. need to have that leverage. I just can't wait until I can get this installed to drill these dog holes. It's so frustrating not having the vise. Alright, so I just grabbed, I really don't need this large of a chisel, but why not for right now. I'm just going to go slightly above. Going with this large of a chisel, makes things a little bit harder. You have to hit it a little harder. You've got to, because you have more surface contact. A little less control, I think. So you get that. I'm going to go back in and cut those fibers. I don't know if I can get in there. Flick those guys out. Doesn't need to be clean. We are not using it as a cutting surface. We're simply chopping away. We're taking this here, we're going to outline it. And I'm going to chop a small line here. The grain is very deceiving. And it's just a very small chop. Just to identify that line. To give a piece of splitting wood a path of least resistance. That's all we're doing. I'm going to go to a smaller chisel because that one's just too big for what I'm doing. Let's go to Old Faithful here. Well, I need to back in. Now that I've got the first chop, go a little bit deeper. The lighting is really tough here. Can't see what I'm doing very well. So I apologize if this looks a little confusing. Do the same thing over here. And you got to get that little piece away so so that your chisel doesn't dive into the piece that way. And when you start getting frustrated, just try to remember that you're doing this for fun. There's really no super easy way to do this, well, with hand tools, other than chipping away at it. And we're going to go 9/16 deep on this housing dado. Just don't go too far to where you're splitting wood past your original chisel mark. And I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down. I've been trying to hold back from going all the way down, but I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down. There's no point in not doing it at this stage. I'll tell you, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing a long sleeve turtleneck. Well, whatever you want to call it. Not really a true turtleneck, but that's because it's cold here. And I am loving every minute of it. It gets down, I want to say into the high 40s, low 50s at night, or has been. And I think today's high was like in the low 60s. So yeah. Fantastic weather. I'm just gonna keep doing this. You can hear that thud. Let you know that you're done. You're not going to cut any deeper without messing it up. That's what it's telling you. Go ahead and chop it out instead of flip-flopping. You could go bevel up or bevel down. It really doesn't matter. And just lever away your wood. Go ahead and chop away the I'm not trying to make another cut here necessarily. I'm just trying to get this fibers broke so I can get that waste out of there. Just so I can get a good feel for how deep I really am. Yeah, if you like a if you like a place that's got cooler weather, the Pacific Northwest is where it's at. It hardly ever gets above 80 degrees. So much so that they like, on the news, they like to count how many days we get above 80. So while the rest of the country is suffering with 90 to 100 degrees, I'm wearing turtlenecks in the middle of August. And loving every minute. Just be mindful, again, we're only going down 9/16. So we got to get all the major waste wood out of here. So we can continue to monitor how deep we're going. So I'll go ahead and stop it now. I'm going to get this going, and when I get to the next step, I'll shoot another video. Maybe I'll try and catch up for this weekend. This weekend's failure to get into the shop. I tell you, I've been itching. I've been itching to get back in there into the shop and finish this vise, and it's one thing after another. But that's how life is. Friends and family, I love you. Everybody else, I'll see you soon.